Hey everyone, it's David Pike, Motorcity Mechanic again with just another video hoping to help people out. Now, we've got a new vehicle in the shop today that's a 2015 Chrysler 300. It's equipped with the 8-speed full electronic transmission. Now, the way this transmission operates is technically shift by wire, meaning there is no mechanical linkage as far as a cable from the shifter to the transmission. So everything is controlled by different computers / modules. In this case, I want to show you how we're going to replace what they call the electronic shift module. Also, the acronym is ESM. You may see it as that as well. For the person that isn't really familiar or big on repairing cars, it is the rotary knob on your center console that changes the position of the gears. As we all grew up remembering other transmissions, there was either a shifter on the column or there was a shifter on the console. Well, these days it's actually a rotary knob, much like on a radio. So I'm going to show you how to remove that item and how to gain access to it. It's fairly cut and dry. So like I said, some videos a little more simpler than the others, but you don't know how simple they are until it's explained. You may actually overthink it, take more stuff off than you need to. You may even damage some stuff trying to take something off that's fairly simple. So please check out the video, watch it step by step. So if you've got to replace this at any time, or if you are just curious or gonna have it repaired somewhere and you want to know what the procedure is, now you know. And also for those wanting to know where that ESM is, now you know what it is and its location as well. So this video is going to accomplish a few different things. So you go ahead and you sit down, you get comfortable, watch the video, and we'll talk again right afterwards. So as you can see, this is the electronic shift module, ESM. It's mounted in the center console. Basically in the same location where the old joysticks would actually be located. Now, in order to remove this, it's pretty cut and dry. I want to show you that there's nothing really elaborate, nothing really hidden. If you need to get to it, you do need your plastic trim stick. And if you haven't got one of these yet, I'm going to pop you upside the head because I've done told everybody over and over and over again, these are what you need. You don't want to damage up the car, you don't want to damage up the trim, you want to give it back in as new or like new condition, or at least the way it came to you in. So definitely, let's try not using any plastic, screwdrivers, pry bars. Use your plastic trim sticks. They don't cost next to nothing, and you're going to see them, you've probably seen them in most of my videos already. I use these time and time again. You can pry with them, you can get trim panels loose. To me, they're worth their weight in gold, even though they don't cost much. So what we need to do, you can pretty much anywhere around this perimeter, you're going to use a trim stick and we're going to pop it loose. Now, this one's got kind of a carbon fiber image to it. This is actually the piece that's going to be coming out. So what you do is just work your way around, start unsnapping the fasteners that hold it down in place. We'll go from one side to the other. You're going to hear some noises. We're trying not to be rough, but it does take a little force to pop them loose. And now we can just lift straight up. And we got one connector on the bottom that we got to release. Now this one is what I call my usual two-stage. As you can see, the red portion, on the red portion you've got to slide it away. Now it's unlocked, and now we can actually squeeze in on it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you a little bit closer on that, because it doesn't matter how many times I tell people about connectors, they still have problems. So I'm going to go a little bit closer in on this and I'll show you again. So like I was saying, you can see the red portion here that we need to slide up. Once we do, it releases. That's what I always call the primary lock. Now what we got to do now is we just squeeze in on it, and once we squeeze in on it, we can pull everything back. We just grab it, squeeze, pull. So there you go. And like I said, that's the lock. If you're going back with it, you're just going to reinstall it till it snaps, and then you're going to slide the lock back in place. So I have to actually emphasize this over and over again, because like I said, the connectors are the hiccup that most people have. Sometimes they try their best, they can't get them off, and they don't want you to break the connector because you do want it to stay in place. So that right there is how you release the primary lock, and then like I said, you got a secondary lock. Now the electronic shifter module goes in from the bottom of the trim panel, set in place with a total of 4 Phillips screws. So what we do is go ahead and get these screws out. and get it out. It's also got some alignment pegs here and here, so as you line it up, tighten the screws down, she'll sit perfectly in this opening here. So there you go. Insulation removal is not much to it. Let's just go ahead and say we have replaced it. What we would do, we got the plastic snaps here. What you do is make sure you plug it in, line everything up, and give it a couple of good taps in those 4 corners to fully seat it. And then you just want to check the operation to make sure it lights up, make sure it does come out of gear when the key's on and you've got your foot on the brake and it's running. So here's our actual replacement ESM, which the acronym stands for electronic shift module. This is what I basically call the radio knob. This doesn't have a basic trans shifter you would think joystick. This is the one that has a rotary knob. This one's coming out of a Chrysler 300. Still got the protective lens on it because this is the replacement part. And we've got one main connector on the rear. These things have what we call electronic shift interlock cables, because previously on a shifter you had to press in on the brake pedal before it would allow it to come out of gear. This one does it electronically inside using solenoids. And also it will not rotate until you do apply the brake and make sure the key's on. So there's a couple of the features. This is basically a computer in itself. You can read information from this with the scanner, and it does have data as well. Like I said, this is called the ESM, or electronic shifter module. This goes in the new 8-speed transmission that you're seeing in a lot of cars. The trucks have them as well. They have a different style switch, a few other ones as well. This is actually, like I said, the Chrysler 300 version. Alright, there you go. Electronic shifter module. Pretty simple, wasn't it? No more than 4 screws and a plastic trim panel holding it in place. Now if you had overthought it, you may have done something as far as taking too much off or scratched or damaged something. So now that you saw the video, you see how fairly simple it is. Now in this particular model, it is a new vehicle. It's only got less than 1,000 miles on it. It's a 2015. What they had noticed was during a specific build date, Chrysler notices some common issues / failures with that ESM due to an internal part. So they actually had sent it's not necessarily a bulletin, it's a more behind the house type thing, what they call a case. We go through what we call STAR. STAR is our technical assistance. The guys are pretty much the ones that help us when we have a problem with any kind of Chrysler, Dodge, or Jeep. It was a case that they had spit out and actually directed us that if you have a specific code, check out the build date of the vehicle. If it falls within this category, we want you to go ahead and replace the ESM. If it does not, then you need to further diagnose it. Now this particular vehicle had an intermittent issue, and the cutoff date was, if I remember correctly, January 26th. Well, this vehicle was built January 27th, so for all intents and purposes, being that it's intermittent, I don't want the customer having a ongoing issue. I don't want them to have a bad taste in their mouth about their vehicle. And also being that it's one day off, I went ahead and we replaced the ESM. And what we're going to do is we're going to let the customer drive it for a period of time, and hopefully it took care of the problem. If not, they'll bring it back in and we'll check it further. So at some point in time, if you can't isolate the problem, you need to try something. It comes to that one point or another. You can't just keep saying, hey, can't find it wrong, couldn't duplicate, and keep sending them down the road. You eventually will have to take the time, bite the bullet, whatever you want to call it, and try something. It's not real scientific to do that, but when you start looking at all the documentation, you see that there are some known issues up to the day before that build date. I'm going to go ahead and try it and see what happens. So if anything changes, I'll try to update you. But for right now, that's what we replaced. Hopefully everything turned out fine and they'll enjoy driving their Chrysler 300. So this time I need you to help me. I know I keep repeating this over and over, so I go a little faster through it. You got any questions, comments? Always feel free to leave them. I try to answer them in a timely manner if I can. Also, any thumbs up, thumbs down. That's basically you grading me, letting me know how well my videos are. Hopefully I'm engaging you well or informing you and helping you. Also, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, all the new videos that come out, you're going to know about. And also, if you want to learn about the old ones, not only can you search through the YouTube channel, but you can also join Facebook. We do have a channel on Facebook. Feel free to check out the link on the main YouTube channel. It's also under Facebook with Motorcity Mechanic as well. I do from time to time post older videos on there, so we got a little mix of new on one and some old being rehashed on the other. So with that, I always appreciate you watching these videos, and I'm going to always keep making you more as long as you keep watching them and it keeps helping you.